All right, what's going on? This is going to be Moon in Gemini in the second house, and I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna do Moon different now. I'm gonna do it in three sections because last video I did the Moon in Gemini in the first house, the one I did the day before yesterday. It took like 12 hours to upload for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. It was 7 gigs, granted, but that's still too long. I don't want y'all waiting that long. Anyway, so this is Moon in Gemini in the second house, and first we talk about the mother and early childhood. So from early childhood, Cancer has the second house in this chart. This is Taurus ascendant. Moon is Gemini, the second house. Cancer, third house. You look to see for the moon, you look to see where Cancer is in your chart. And those things, this case, the third house, are going to be the issues, the situations, the themes of what early childhood was like and what your mother, the relationship with your mother was like. When I say early childhood, I don't mean that as opposed, like the fourth house is the early childhood, like the houses. I mean, like the moon here, how I'm talking about it is like it was created, it was molded into an energy instead of a house. Now it's a energy to express. It has a solid form, and the mother and early childhood is the ingredients to how it was formed. If I could put it in a way, this example I was thinking of that, like let's say the moon is a thunderstorm. Storms form from the ocean. The sun will evaporate the ocean, and it rises and cools, and it forms clouds. And clouds gather and forms a thunderstorm. In the same way, your mind, which is the thunderstorm, it's ocean, and it comes from early childhood. Those are the ingredients of the mind, early childhood, the relationship with your mother. So that's why I picked that one as a point now. So that's the way to look at it when I talk about early childhood. And communication, third house, communication, perhaps your neighborhood, your community, your local community, your siblings, cousins, friends. I said neighbors, neighborhood, same thing. Well, neighbors. Uh, your ability to connect with someone else, whether it be through communication, um, yeah, communication. But yeah, that's the third. So all these things uh, are from what? These are the ingredients. These are the things that your early childhood evolved around. That your mother was always like when it came to you, something like you observe your mother in the neighborhood, in the community, or it's just always communicative with someone. As a kid, you just watching, it's observing. The kids got kids like that. You just be watching. Well, they just be watching, not knowing what's going on. They're watching. They're observing. Their moon is forming. That's what's going on. Now, as kids, we don't know this. We don't know what's going on. We just uh, uh, trying to put A with B, trying to make sense of things, trying to give our what we're doing is giving our emotions a foundation. We're creating form for our emotions, and we're creating characteristic, like a way it can be expressed. We're creating a personality for our thoughts and how we think, how we process. All of this stuff is the moon. So, yeah, fifth house, those are the things that play into how, your mind, your emotions, your emotional identity, your emotional intelligence was formed around these sort of things. Um, and this is Taurus ascendant person. And so Taurus ascendant, when they would observe people communicating, it always had an emotional theme to it. Emotions was always the theme. I feel this, I feel that, I feel this. Or these people, that's the lens through which they saw it. It's all about emotions, people, communicating their emotions to one another or something like that. It's a lot of emotion in the local environment at the Walmart and stuff like that, or the neighborhood. Just emotions was a thing, and you viewing this for a Taurus ascendant person, they take their uh, they take emotions and they say, well, this is a survival. To them, they perceived it. A Taurus ascendant perceived. Remember, the first house is perception. They perceived emotions. They perceived communication as a very important thing. They perceived it as something that would have to do with how they feel about themselves. Even if it is somebody that's communicating with them, they're communicating with somebody. They're watching two people communicate. They're watching something on TV, whatever it is. Emotions is the thing, and so is communication. And they for them it was about man, okay, how does this make me feel? Maybe maybe they had these kind of relatives or siblings were this way. Maybe the siblings were people who were like, okay, they'd be, real happy about something that happened at school, and the sister want to tell the other sister, and then you, the child, remember your mind is still forming. You're watching them. You're watching emotions go back and forth, and then when they finish having once they, oh yeah, I feel you, you feel me, blah blah blah, and they connect. One or both of the sisters express something alike. Man, I feel so good about myself now. Or the opposite. Man, I feel bad about myself now. So what they got from that is, okay, when it comes to emotions, that's the thing. That's what they adopted now. Now you have a moon. You have a form. Okay, so emotions means this is the child. Like, okay, emotions and communicating their emotions means that's gonna have to do with how they feel about them. Okay, how they feel about themselves gonna have to do with self-esteem. So that as a child, that's what was going on. Now, as kids, we're subconscious for a lot of the part. We don't know. Again, we don't know what's going on. But I really feel this is groundbreaking stuff to really see how somebody's mind, how and why it's molded and what it's molded into. That's your moon sign. So that's just an example. Thought process and expression is the second one. I wish I could make these videos longer. I don't know, but yeah, the thought process for would be someone who, again, like they in their daily I don't say routine, but the places and things you do every day, like gas stations, places, the people you see daily, things like mailman and the station attendant and stuff like that. Um, your thought process are derived from your experience with those kind of people. If it weren't the people I was just saying, then just think of when you were growing up, or maybe you could have somebody tell you, what was I around growing up? Like what kind of people? Where we go, or what siblings or cousins, whoever, because that's important. That's going to show you where you derive your thought process from and how you think about um, how you think. It was derived from your local environment, your thought process. So you would get it from people in your local environment, and you would just observe their thought process, and still, again, when you're little, it's still forming, right? So you need a thought process. How am I going to process things and process my emotions? And it goes back to that example of the two sisters. Um, but even not the two sisters, maybe it's something on TV. Third House, another thing, TV, like TV shows and things like that. So here you can see, your mind could be molded, your thought process could be molded from something you saw on TV. Again, the theme is communication. The theme is communication. So what you're thinking is, man, I gotta get this out. I gotta get this out somehow. I want to talk to somebody about this, or I want to write about my emotional experience of that and things like that. That's where it starts. That's where it starts around. Oh man, I feel like I did a real good job. I put a lot of effort into this thing, or lack thereof. Like it could be a job. It could be something that's not a job. Something that anything that you put efforts into is the third house. And so if people are like, man, did I really put enough into it? And they'll just keep going over and there thinking about, oh man, did I do enough? Well, I don't think I did enough. I don't did that. I did enough. I didn't do enough. They're thinking about these things, and that's going to play into how you feel about yourself at the end of it all. You feel like, oh man, I did a good job. I did a good job. What the hell was the job, man? Did I do a good job or not? Did I really put it into it? So that's a lot. That's what these people are thinking. The thought process is around these kind of things and about these things a lot, man. Courage is another thing. The third house. These people think a lot about um, doing courageous things, or courageous people, courageous acts, things that they want to do that takes courage for them to do, and how it's going to affect how they feel about themselves. Like, man, I know if I did, if I went to go talk to that girl, man, even if she don't give my number, I really feel real good about myself. So they go over back and forth over things like that. That's the thought process. It starts with a third house thing, and it ends with a second house thing. It's for the second house thing. Another example is like you writing a paper, or you writing I don't know, like a lesson plan for a teacher or something like that. They'll write the lesson plan, boom, submit it, and then their thought process. That's where it starts. That's what activates it. Third house things. I just wrote something. That's the third house thing. Now the thought process starts. Now the feelings start to, oh, I don't feel like I did a good job on this lesson plan. Well, I know I did good and this and that. And upon the answer, the conclusion to this, after this thought process, after you feel this, sleeping on it for a while, you feel some way about something. And then, people be like, oh, sleep on it. Well, you better sleep on it. When you come back to it, that's going to have a lot to do with the moon in Gemini in the second house of self-esteem, self-worth, survival needs. See, these people think like daily. They think daily about their daily things, whatever their daily coming and goings were. They trip to Walmart, this, that, all these little things like that. Something happens there. Something going on. Something related to your daily comings. Your daily things you did for the day affect your self-esteem. So it affects your survival need. Having something to do daily, actually, whether it be going to the store, going to the tire shop, visiting your, I don't know, cousin or something like that lives in the suburb next to you. That actually affects. That's actually a survival need as well. So, that's a little bit on the thought process. I went over. It's 16:24. We'll be back with part 2. Peace.